I think we now need to understand what trends would drive change. If the world is changing, if the world within the companies is changing, if the world with our own lives is changing, what actually is happening? One is the world is getting mobile. Everything is getting to be the power of your smartphone. And I think this is a big, big change. I hardly use the laptop anymore. Maybe I don't even use my iPad as frequently, but I do use my iPhone for almost everything that I need to do. The second big change which is happening is the cloud. We don't need to invest huge amounts of money for an on-site establishment of our own complex set of servers and databases. At a fraction of a cost, you have everything available on the cloud. The third big thing that is driving change is analytics. It's the power to analyze quickly, work through tons of data to get the key insights, to see the key trends, positive or otherwise. And I think this is going to be a huge shift that is going to drive a lot of change in management thinking and therefore response time. Fourth is about automation. A lot in the world of our employees is going to get automated. Jobs are going to get automated. Jobs therefore might be getting redundant. It is also possible that a lot of transactions today which are done in many other ways would not need to exist because many things will actually get automated. I think this is a trend whose time has come. And finally, whether it is AI induced, but this entire concept of Internet of Things, different things talking to each other, I think this is really the web that we are going to be living in. And if you look at this reality, the experience of an employee, the work of an employee, the job description of an employee, the expectations of an employee, the expectations of a manager, everything is going to change. It is not about whether this will happen. It is about how fast will it consume all of us. And I think this is a very important dimension that we must be very, very cognizant of. As I tweeted some time back, artificial intelligence is set to disrupt companies, its people and its culture. Will we be losers or winners through this shift? To me, the answer is very simple. It depends on how we want to play this game. And I think the winners are the ones who are going to adapt and change a lot of their environment to make sure that they don't resist a reality whose time has come. The losers are those who are still going to be challenging, trying to prevent a tsunami which is all set to hit us. And therefore, if all of this is happening, what would change? Decision making will change. The speed of decision making will change. People who can take decisions will change. I think this is a huge, huge move towards democratizing organizations. It's a huge move towards building greater accountability and transparency in systems. The other thing is everything is going to get more social, more networked, more matrix, more people communicating with each other, more people eliciting information from each other, inviting ideas. And I think this is a big change where we will go beyond individual personalities. So the old landlordism mentality is going to change to a world which will be very networked. Which also therefore means that the world will have to depend more on collaboration because there will be different expert groups which will come together. But not everyone is going to be an expert in everything, and you will need to leverage the power of the other. And I think this entire phenomenon is going to be a big cultural transition for organizations, for leaders and for HR functions to handhold. And finally, the employee experience will change because the nature of your employees will change, the demographics of your employees will change. And therefore, the way people will expect their organizations and their experiences at work will be very close now to the experiences that they already have in their own social and digital reality. I don't think this divide between the private and the workspace is going to sustain itself. And therefore, to what extent would organizations, their systems, processes, and cultures need to change? But I think these are big dimensions of what would need to change. And therefore, if you were to look at an HR life cycle, everything from recruitment, the way we recruit, the catchments we look at, the way we induct talent into organizations, that is going to change. The role of the entire employer branding, the role of individual branding, personal brands will become very, very important, because at the end of the day, recruiters are going to be looking also for people with strong personal brands. And how many of us actually are aware of our personal brands? Do we have one? How do we create our brand pull, both organizations and individuals? How do we invest in that? That becomes very important. Talent is going to be more expressive. They are going to be writing their comments on social media. There are going to be many more Glassdoor clones that will happen. And how do you therefore look at managing the appointments and disappointments of vocal talent? Therefore, the role of leadership is going to change. There will be disruption. Leadership for 30 years is no longer going to be reality. It will be leadership of the moment and by the moment. Decision making by leaders or by people at large will get to be more data aided. It will be more transparent. It will be very important to start looking at dashboards, real time. I think a lot of results are going to be at real time. Quarterly results itself might be dated. You will be measuring things by the day, by the hour, by the minute. Leadership therefore will get a lot more dose of objective inputs. It will never be completely objective, because at the end of the day there will be calls to be made, but there will be a lot more of objective measures. And of course, at the end of the day, deployment of capital, including human capital, will become very central. And therefore, deployment of skills will be calls that will be made very, very carefully and closely. And therefore, the entire concept of talent management will change. Hiring right, placing right, valuing right, combinations of whether you need full-time regular employees vis-a-vis moving to a more team-based, project-based set of external experts getting together. All of this is going to become part of talent management. So I think talent management will no longer be an internal exercise. It will be as much interwoven with talent acquisition or talent supply. And talent supply may not be an employee acquisition or an employee supply. Issues around work content will become very important. People are going to be looking at the content of their jobs, not necessarily about the titles of their jobs. In a world of individual free agents and high expertise, employee mobility will become very high. And therefore, lifelong employment as a talent philosophy might be in question. And therefore, how do you deliver long-term results working with individual free agents is going to be a reality of talent management. And all of this will therefore need a huge amount of data to make sure that we actually make our decisions which are sharp, precise, and actually effective. And finally, the entire concept of business partnering is going to change. For HR, it is no longer going to be about doing transactions or query resolutions. It's going to be about helping solve real business problems. So what is the problem? I think HR will have to ask that question. What is the business problem? And therefore take the larger HR route, organization design route, talent route, culture route, engagement route, whatever route you take, but it will be about solving a business problem. It will also be about enterprise risk mitigation. So I think HR will get to be very, very central to being the business. And all of this in the context of living with tech-savvy and socially aware employees who will expect nothing less and whose demands will continue to be high. And in an era where there will be what I call information democracy. This entire nuance of business partnering therefore becomes very different than what we have classically seen for many, many years.